In some ways, I was terrified to die. It was a very difficult concept to try to think about at 10 years old.
My little girl, who was always the first one out to play in the morning and the last one in at night, was losing energy. I wasn't aware of anything going around or any kind of a flu. There were lots of hospital tests, lots of visits, lots of, well, we can tell you she doesn't have cancer and she doesn't have muscular dystrophy. We're not quite sure what she does have. In the meantime, she was getting sicker and losing weight.
Well, it took 9 months to finally receive a diagnosis of what was actually going on.
The doctor said, oh, it's, you know, a confirmation of what I was thinking, and she has Lyme disease, and it's pretty much throughout her body. I remember him sort of patting my hand and saying, things will get worse before they get better.
And at 10 years old, I didn't really know what worse was, because by that point, I wasn't actually able to walk on my own. And in my mind, worst was like death.
They had to put a PICC line in her arm in order to give her IV meds. So here she was already sick and then getting sicker from the medicines.
I didn't walk for almost 2 years. I lost a significant amount of weight. I had pretty severe headaches, pretty much migraines most of the days. So it was a very difficult and terrifying situation to be in. I asked my mom, you know, is God punishing me? Did I do something to mess up? Did I pray the wrong prayer?
And I remember stopping and having to just say a prayer and say, Lord, please give me the words to encourage my daughter, because I'm not quite sure what I'm going to say here. And I had turned away, and when I turned back to her, what I said was, nope, you haven't done anything wrong. Be encouraged with that. God doesn't give disease. That's not his character. And I might not know, I might not be able to give you a lot of the answers that you want, but what I do know, Mary Rose, is that God is still good.
My mom and I would have time, usually in the afternoon, where we would pray. In the morning, it was usually her reading scriptures from the Bible.
I remember praying and asking God, okay, Lord, how do I encourage her? Because she really, really needed encouragement. And one day I just started reading Psalm 23 out loud, and she said, I like that, Mom. That brings me hope. And so that became one of our favorite scriptures to read.
Leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me.
I began to just really place my trust in God and know that he was there and that I was going to hold on to him. And as I did that, slowly I began to make steps forward. My headaches would decrease, or maybe I would be able to introduce new foods into my diet. When my physical therapist told me that most likely I wouldn't be able to walk again.
I remember Mary Rose saying, oh, really? I'm 11 years old, and you're not going to tell me I'm not going to walk again? Obviously, you don't know my God. I mean, literally, those were her words.
That was a day that God used to fuel inside of me that he was bigger.
To push to get the exercises done, and you know, when she couldn't move and we had to do them for her, and then as she started to gain strength and she could do them, and it was hard and painful. She was in a lot of pain.
It took me about 6 weeks or so. I practiced standing and stuff, and then I took my first steps.
God just said, just keep your focus on me. Just keep pushing forward and focus on me, and I will be your hope.
And then eventually I got to the point where I could do a stationary bike and then a treadmill, and now I do an elliptical. I also had to learn eating and eating well.
From the time of the diagnosis to the time that she was actually able to function pretty much on her own was closer to a 5-year time period.
God has definitely healed me in many, many ways. There's no man-made cure for Lyme, but I believe that God can heal us of anything. And so that's what I claim every day. I've been off antibiotics for 3 years. And so God has just, God has done some amazing work in my life. I'm doing better health-wise than I have been, I think, pretty much ever. So And that's because of what God has done and the healing that He has given me.